All right, so I'm back with another update on the David situation for you today, guys. And there's been a whole bunch of new links, new posts, new scrutiny of old evidence that's been circulating around. And I'm going to break it all down for you today, okay? As I've said in previous videos, I do feel like we're reaching the kind of the saturation point when it comes to any new David information. I feel like the most interesting things that have come out have come out. I think that now everybody is kind of doing reruns. They're trying to look back at anything else that that's already surfaced and trying to just find deeper meaning in it. But everybody is still just debating whether or not he'll be arrested anytime soon. Will he be arrested soon? Does he have a good defense? There's been a few different potential defenses that have been circulated about, and it seems completely unconfirmed, but there's been a comment that has actually been circulating that claims to be from David's manager actually defending himself, and there's also allegedly been sightings of David commenting under posts about him on TikTok. So I'm going to break it all down. I've got a whole bunch of links for you that we're going to explore today, okay? I can't vouch for the authenticity of the content that I'm going to show you, okay? I'm just reflecting on what the public discourse is around this situation today on the 28th of September 2025, and we're going to do that together. It's going to be an open conversation. I'm not saying that every single thing that I read from Reddit is facts, by no means, okay? Don't be a dummy, but we're going to explore some interesting theories and put it up to our own magnifying glass and our own level of scrutiny. So first thing I want to show you, there's a poll going around in the David2 subreddit. It says, do you think that David will be arrested anytime soon? And I was surprised. Okay, I was surprised, but no actually had it. 181 votes for no and only 88 votes for yes. So a lot of people really overall are thinking David ain't going to get arrested anytime soon. This person says no, until they prove he did it, he can walk and enjoy his little freedom. He cannot leave the country due to the ongoing investigation. It's really important they get all the facts right for a very long court case, even though the public has made him guilty. They have to build it correctly so he doesn't get thrown out or given a short sentence. Rest assured, his music career is over. Crazy to think he was only 20. People saying, nah, not anytime soon. Maybe by the end of the year. That's going to be a long wait. People saying, I don't think he'll be able to get away from this easily. Looking at how the body was found in the trunk of his, or that he met her IRL and that he even knows her in Discord. Also, the police are taking their time since they're going against him with strong accusations, so they're looking for evidence, strong evidence, as accusing him with no proper evidence can make the case weak. That's why they're taking their time. Somebody says homicide cases can take months or even years if it's very complex. They've got to do an autopsy to figure out the cause of death, which can be quite difficult considering the body was decomposed for a while in the trunk. She could have died from an OD and then someone just essentially moved a dead corpse, or David could have done a murder for hire. Here in the UK, I've seen a case where a gang conspired to murder a rapper by purchasing a gun. Shout out to Fredo and them, which is illegal to even own here, and murder them by discussing it in a Snapchat group chat. No murder even happened, and they all got 17 years each. Took them a while to bring that case, though, to be fair. Not sure what the laws are like in the US, but if there's evidence that he conspired with someone to get her killed, I'm sure that will carry a lengthy sentence. He doesn't need to have physically done anything himself unless he was purely framed by someone, which is unlikely. Either way, they'll get him for the PDF charges, which might get him a couple years or more in jail if he's involved in the murder in any way. He's looking at a long time. And if he is, I personally think he deserves life in prison. There's too many dots connected, but it's all circumstantial evidence at the moment. It says, well, looks like it's not just potentially a homicide. There are a lot of other illegal things involved as well, so it might take a while. This person says, I think he'll be arrested within 1 to 2 weeks. They released the body back to the family, which indicates they got all they can obtain from it. They have his computers, electronics from his house. He probably didn't wipe everything because he didn't seem to be concerned about the body being in the Tesla. If he was sloppy about that, then he was sloppy about the digital footprint. Even little things like the event viewer history can show when he started up or was using his computer, which can place him in the house at a certain time or day. There's certainly evidence of Celeste in his house. All they need is a single hair to show that. If they found even a trace of her blood, he's done for, and Luminol can show blood on a surface that looks like it's been cleaned completely. But he has strong lawyers on his side, so they need to be more thorough than they would for the average person without access to that kind of legal protection. So there's a bunch of old stuff that's resurfacing. Okay, hang on a second. Got to stay hydrated out here, man. But people are saying that there's basically stuff going around to suggest that David was actually playing Fortnite with Celeste back when she was 10 years old, okay? This says, Ari, she was 10. Former Fortnite teammates confirmed Celeste sightings as early as January 2021. And so this is a TikTok video with comments. It says, I'm trying to find a clip, me and Celeste and David in a call. I knew I should have said something, bro. I thought he was just being normal. This says, at least share what you remember if you can't find it. It says, we were queuing up in Fortnite with random people. Then we queued up with Celeste at first. It was normal, like 3 months go by. I noticed it's getting weird. Like, how does he know her entire story? And I'm thinking he's just being nice to her. Just being nice to this kid like a brother, but it got weirder every time we would play together. Eventually he did his own thing, and yeah, I never would have thought this could have happened. And then someone saying, insane as F. We were in S-Wavy, Vicious, and Chronic together, and he did not mention a girl, a kid, or nothing. LMAO, we were 14 or 15, bruh. Do not, I think he wants to say, do not lie on Chronic like this and say us members and OGs knew because we didn't. Somebody replied, you must have just not been tight like that, gang. I've seen other Fortnite people saying the same thing, that people in Chronic knew, and that's how they met. They undoubtedly played Fortnite together. She was literally a kid. Someone says, I was in a lobby while she was there, and that was only one time. I assumed it was someone's sister. Thinking of everything, it makes more sense now. The guy that commented, I have no clue who he is, and I don't remember him being in Chronic. Someone says, do you remember anything weird about the conversation? Do you remember the username? They say, I don't remember her username, but there wasn't any weird vibes. We were playing Zone Wars, and she just make little comments like everyone while playing. But Ant, aka David, would joke about SA all the time and other weird things, severe dark humor, and everyone that's played with him can confirm. People saying, what year and month was this, if you can remember? They're saying January or February of 2020 or 2020. Or it could be 2021 because it was before I stopped playing, and I stopped playing around then. Someone's saying, I'm not sure what tight is supposed to mean. LMAO, we were all competitors and wanted to be like pro players, and he never mentioned a girl in calls or during streams or in chat or in scrims in general or anything in Fortnite com about a girl. Lol, we all wanted to be famous. No girls were talked about much. People saying, are you sure that it was her? And then they said 100% couldn't have been anyone else. By saying y'all must have not been that tight, I think it's obvious that means you must not have been that tight or friendly with him. I don't know what else that could have mean. Kind of not a good question, and it seems like y'all weren't. If you didn't talk about girls and played mostly during scrims, other people contradicting you, I've seen more people saying that they did play than otherwise. And then this is another a comment that's been circulating. Yo, I'm watching the live right now, but I just want to say this because me and my friend are trying to recall everything. We were in a Fortnite team called Chronic, which is where I met him. He met her in like 2021 through Fortnite, and I'm pretty sure... and then he made her get Discord. Everyone in the team knew about her, and he would joke about it and brush it off every time it got mentioned. That's all I personally know, but my friend Pistol knows more because they talked way more. She would literally say he graped her, but then follow it up with a joke, so I don't know if she was being for real or not. He was also just a weirdo, to be honest. He used to send gore in group chats, but I'm not surprised considering he something. And then this is obviously something that's been posted a bunch, but this is Celeste's Reddit Discord account, and it says that she was a member of Discord since January the 4th, 2021, and that is when she would have been 10. So there's more comments. This sickens me, dude. I was in a Zone Wars with both of them, and I thought the little girl in the lobby was someone's sister on the game. I always had a weird feeling about him. I didn't even know he was David. Do you recall the game or the queue? Someone else said that they maybe had a recording, but they haven't found it. This says, I stopped playing years ago, so I wouldn't be able to find anything, but I tried. They said, you used to play with him all the time, though? That is crazy. You didn't know it was him? Did he have a gamer tag that you remembered or can share? So that maybe other people can remember playing in games with that profile or find more proof of him talking about her or her playing too. They said, like I said, I stopped playing Chapter 2. At this time, he wasn't making music. He was a Fortnite player that posted montages like everyone else. I had an old friend from that time that texted me and told me that David is the ant that we were playing with, and I didn't play with him all the time. We did wagers and private Zone Wars, one of which Celeste was playing in. His gamer tag, as I remember it, was YT Chronic Ant, and people who play games should definitely spread that name around. All right. And so it says, this is to add more to my original post about Celeste being 10 or younger when they met, and comments and screenshots I found with former Fortnite players and team members discussing their time with both David and Celeste on the game. I also want to add that I believe they did meet prior to Fortnite, because if she joined his server on the 4th day of January 2021, this would mean that they would have had to get acquainted fast, or they knew each other the year prior in 2020. I know kids had lots of time during the COVID lockdown, but the only thing that makes me doubt it was 2020 was because of his TikTok referencing a Hello Kitty girl from 2021. People saying the digital footprint goes crazy. The age they met keeps getting younger and younger, and it's so heartbreaking. 10 is a literal baby in every way, practically an infant. RIP to her. And then this is a 2022 tweet where David seems to be mentioning this Pistol person, saying, thank you, Pistol. I love you. The Chronic team member, apparently. And And people saying this is a second photo of an interaction between Pistol and David. I personally believe this semi-validates what was said in the screenshot of the DM. Credit again, this is that chronic Pistol person. And that's the Ant. Thank you, Pistol. I love you. That's David's alter ego. And he's wishing them a happy birthday. Wait a minute. March the 30th. Yeah, that does roughly line up, to be honest. That does roughly line up. March the 28th. And if it was happy late birthday on March the 30th. So that would line up with David's birthday. I'm not going to lie. That's crazy. All right. It says, I've read somewhere she was 9 when she started talking. It was during COVID lockdown 2020 and she hadn't even turned 10 yet. Now, these, just for the record, if people want to say spreading misinformation, this is not verified information, okay? We're just digging through some evidence, all right, giving our opinion, weighing up the probabilities that it might be genuine information that leads to other things. People are pointing out this is the Chronic Ant YouTube channel, all right? Old Fortnite streams on that channel. People saying if you want to dig into these live streams, apparently this is the real one. David Gaming. Wait a minute. What? Is this an old channel? This is okay. This is like an official looking channel. And it's got montages, behind the scenes, backstage stuff. I wonder what the oldest one is. Introducing the best FaZe console player. Copyrighted and have to start making music like David did. But this is all the way back in 2018. David Gaming, that he was making these things. So, look, at some point, if I've got time, I might have to go through a whole bunch of these compilations, right? Because if he's got any things where he's playing it with other people, who knows, man? If we could actually, if it's possible, I haven't got time right this second, but who knows? Maybe Celeste is in there playing with him all the way back then. I mean, this is a lot of content to get through, right? But that's something we're going to have to dig into at some point. But there's been more posts that have been circulating. People pointed out something interesting, saying that there's no trace of Celeste with David in 2025. It seems like everything's from 2024. So let's read this full breakdown on the situation. Someone in another post asked if there's any photographic evidence of them together in 2025. This really got me thinking about why she was noticeably absent from his online media presence, and especially what effect it probably had on her mental health. So I'm wondering if he was made to do a better job of keeping his relationship hidden because of all the recklessness in the past when it came to her. There've been a couple references to media training that he's made that leads me to believe he was probably instructed to scrub his online footprint of her as best as he could because they knew that his career would be ruined if it came out. I'm sure this was all part of a crisis management plan put together by someone to create reasonable doubt if their relationship was ever revealed. Part of that plan may have included stop posting anything on his socials with her or posting things in which she's invisible. Make sure that she no longer uses any of her old social media profiles to post anything. Have everyone sign an NDA, including Celeste, with a warning of steep consequences if broken. Heavily monitor Celeste's online activity and communications. Create an association with another Celeste who is of age to confuse the narrative. This would include having the new Celeste make documented appearances in which she wore similar clothing and accessories as the real Celeste, and make sure she's tagged in photos and posts to call attention to them. And make sure those in the know are taken care of with money, deals, and promotion. I think he's probably been trying to get ahead of the relationship for a while. Meanwhile, this poor child who got caught up in what she believed to be a great love affair was reduced to just a burdensome situation to deal with. It breaks my heart to think that this was her only experience with love. She didn't know any different. I can't imagine how she felt or was treated when she was no longer the love of his life, just a burdensome nuisance to deal with. His life blew up and he got to live it to the fullest while she was excluded from those experiences and left to watch from the sidelines as a dirty little secret. Add that to the fact that she would have been facing these circumstances with all the emotional maturity that a 14-year-old child can muster. I cannot imagine the shame, the guilt, the loneliness, the worthlessness, the helplessness that she probably experienced every day. I remember what it was like when I was that age. Every emotion is magnified 100-fold. Everything feels like the end of the world because at that age we can't see past tomorrow. It's absolutely devastating that for Celeste those feelings were valid. It really was the end of the world. As this person says, I'm by no means a qualified person to speak on this, but I would imagine an aspect of grooming is gaining your victim's trust, making them feel safe and as if they have a prominent place in your life. And once you have them compliant, vulnerable, and reliant on you, you show your true colors. So speculating, but if that is true, then it's possible that he convinced her that they couldn't be out about their relationship, probably not because of her age specifically, but because everyone else is enemies and doesn't want them to be happy, don't understand their love, and want her to be taken away from him. She could have been isolating herself from everyone she knows because he convinced her he is the only one who can keep her safe. That's just a guess. This is disgusting because it's very likely what happened. He may have been a PDF and still is, but the fear of losing your life to your career or going to prison wasn't worth keeping this love affair with her for any longer. Now, people are claiming unverified, big unverified button, all right, big unverified button, but people are claiming that there's been comments that have been left on TikToks that are talking about the David situation by the official David account. This says, real or not, poster claimed the comment was deleted right after. And then this is a post. It says, was looking back at this old pic I took with David from 2023 and I noticed something strange. And apparently, allegedly, unverified, but they're saying the official David account commented, okay. And just people are saying that it's creepy. All right, someone, apparently creators should be able to see deleted comments up to 2 minutes after they've been deleted. Some people see it. But yeah, they're basically saying that David might actually be out here creeping on TikToks. I might need to check my videos, see if he's commented on any of those. But people are saying, why is no one talking about how David commented on a TikTok about him and Celeste and deleted it? What the F? Okay. It's pretty obvious he's aware of people talking about him on social media, Twitter, YouTube, and in TikTok. A couple of days ago, his Fortnite account was privated, and people saying it was good that the TikToker screenshotted that. People saying he probably thought he was on an alt account. Nothing about this screams fake in the sense that given the case, why would you only Photoshop the word okay and not something more likely to go viral? This is a supposed clout chaser, right? The person quoted is also correct. The owner of the page can see deleted comments for a period of time after they're deleted, and the alignment of the hearts is off due to the like ratio. Check it yourself. Okay, people saying, I believe the tension is affecting him. He definitely made that comment, but the PR team or manager deleted it. People saying he does not have a PR team anymore. His label stopped promoting him at all. People saying also there's another screenshot that the creator of the TikTok posted in the comments, and in the bottom it says replying to David. This happens when you click a notification of someone replying. If this was fake, it's an insane level to detail. The guy reposted a picture, the picture cropped, which is why the screenshot on this post doesn't include this. They apparently replied, or it said they were clicking to reply, and it said replying to David. That's not proof, right? That's not proof. Can't confirm this is true. Unconfirmed, unverified, all of that stuff. But people saying this video in particular must have really triggered him somehow to get a response. We all know he's been lurking, but for him to break his silence with a simple okay, it shows he had something more to say. All right. So another unverified, okay, unverified comment could be cap. This could be absolute cap, but this is circulating amongst people. I'm going to talk about it because this is what people are talking about it, but I do not vouch for the authenticity of this comment. Okay, this could be absolute lies, but the manager, Josh Marshall, that everybody a few days ago was basically saying that Celeste's family in 2024 actually reached out to David's manager, Josh Marshall, to basically share the missing poster and say, we want our daughter back. And it was reported a few days ago, again, unverified, for the record, unverified, but it was reported a few days ago that there was a claim made that Celeste was actually returned within 24 hours of this person emailing David's manager. But, okay, unverified, but a comment is circulating that people are suggesting could actually be Josh Marshall replying to a TikTok about this whole accusation that he had essentially been contacted by the family, and this is an unconfirmed denial. All right, we don't know if this is true, if this is real, but I'll read you what it says. Josh Marshall, it says, this video is false and the person is misinformed. This is the only time I'll speak on this matter for now. This has been a tough time for my family as I'm a father of 3 children. I receive no emails and I'm no one's roommate. I live full-time at home with my wife and kids. My daughter is 14 and this news is affecting so many lives. I never received any emails. I had zero knowledge of anything and I don't live in California. Also, I work remotely 95% of the time and my job doesn't require me to have much interaction with any of my clients or David, as there are many others that work with him on a day-to-day capacity, not me. This news is tragic for so many and for her family. I hope the proper authorities get to the bottom of it soon. Let me remind people, a lot of this is speculation and alleged. In the meantime, I'm with my family, helping them emotionally get through the news of this tragedy. Please report on something. Now, unverified, okay, people are saying, are we sure that's legit him commenting? People are saying, are retagged under speculation. It could very well be a hoax. And now, okay, for the record, all right, can't say I'm putting out misinformation. People are saying that this is indeed fake, all right? They're saying that it's fake. The account was created in Puerto Rico and the username was changed today. Post is now tagged under disproved, okay? And that's really good they've got this tagging system to post this under disproved, because what we're going to do is we're going to talk about all these different things that are going on and being able to actually go back and tag them and say this has been proved, this has been disproved. This is really important. And this is why, look, I give full transparency, all right? Clearly, this is cap. Disproved, all right? And I found that out in real time, all right? I didn't come here with this agenda to try and spin this as if it's real, as if I knew it wasn't real. I'm reading it, all right? I saved the link. I said I'm going to look at this on a video, all right? And we're learning in real time. Apparently, this is complete cap, all right? Yep, people are saying it's cap, all right? It is what it is, okay? But there was more to this response, all right? This allegedly cap response, okay? So we're going to say it's allegedly cap, all right? People are looking at this account. They're saying that the account's not genuine, okay? They're looking at other things, all right? They're looking at the comment. The comment goes further. I'm with my family, helping them emotionally get through news of this tragedy. Please report on factual information. They allegedly signed off Josh Marshall. And then there was a follow-up. This is for anyone that spread misinformation about me that greatly affects myself and my family without any regard for the facts. Also, I hope the creator of this video pins my comment and corrects what she said with a new video, and anyone else making false comments or following a narrative about me that isn't true. Now, what is interesting about this, right, is if we are going to agree that this commenter is cap, this comment is cap, it's fabricated, this isn't really Josh Marshall saying this, then what that means is then this isn't proof. That we can't unverify. We still haven't got verification, true or false, whether or not an email was actually sent to the manager. As far as I'm aware, I haven't seen anything disproving that. That could still be true, but it also might not be true, right? So we're going to keep following. We're going to keep trying to break down and just get to the root of all the facts. But yet, this says the account was created in Puerto Rico, nickname edited 4 hours ago. This looks fishy, okay? And I think that's a really good point. All right, take it. Don't take it at face value. It doesn't appear to be confirmed. Official verified account, also based in Puerto Rico. No connection to the verified account. That's apparently his real account. Okay, but it says account based in Puerto Rico. That's unusual. Official verified IG is also based in Puerto Rico. No connection verified to the TT. I mean, if the account being in Puerto Rico is the only proof that we've got that it ain't true, but it appears to be that this has been disproved, right? So we're not going to analyze more analysis based on whether or not people think it's true, because we kind of get the idea. But a big thing that's going around is a lot of people have been talking about these Romeo and Juliet laws, right? So a lot of people have been trying to work out what David's best defense is going to be, if he's going to be able to beat this. The fact that he was potentially a minor when he met Celeste, who was also a minor, people are saying that might actually come around to help him, but apparently, according to California, it doesn't have these rules. I see people mentioning Romeo and Juliet laws. According to Google, California does not have those. All right, and this isn't good. This is AI, and a lot of this AI be capping, because I type stuff into Google and I see it tell me stuff that I know is true. Anyway, it says California doesn't have Romeo and Juliet laws, also known as close in age exemptions, which would exempt consensual sexual relations between young adults who are close in age, but one is a minor. California laws require anyone having S with a minor, even if they're also a minor, to face legal actions. Okay, some states have those laws, others don't. All right, people saying it was a 5-year age gap, technically greater. He was 20 and she was 14 when she died. Okay, people saying he was a few months from 17 talking to an 11-year-old girl, allegedly. People saying I don't think there's any state where someone can consent at 11 or 13, not even that low. 16 is the lowest any state goes, but federally it's 18. Never use the Google AI summaries for things. It always gets things wrong. That's facts, all right? They're always facts. But people have been commenting on whether this whole age gap thing... Oh, bruh. I hate when they do this, man. Because this was just a post that was basically just like breaking down just some backstory about a potential defense David could use to do with how young he was when they met. But at least we still got the comments, right? People are saying that the original post was a defense attorney talking about the potential defense, but they're saying that this is a famed Hollywood defense attorney. He'll say anything to convince you of anything. He's likely waiting in the wings to be on David's legal team. It's just a matter of time. People saying, FYI, OP trying to not so subtly frame a 16, 17-year-old with an 11-year-old as justifiable. It's not. They're saying their whole post history is trying to run interference for David. So people are, look, I wanted to explore the theory that maybe David might actually have a good defense. Not that I believe it's a good defense in the sense that I believe it's a moral defense, or I think it's a right defense, or a defense he should use, or that we should morally excuse his behavior. But I want to explore these defenses as a potential thing of when this, if this, and when this goes to trial, what are the moves that he might actually make to try and, you know, paint things to be a little bit better for him. So I don't think there's anything wrong with looking at those, but I'm definitely not out here defending. But there's another theory that's been going around as to when he might have actually, when this situation where she led to her losing her life might have actually happened. This says, here's what I think happened. Final answer until real answers are released. Before tour, David killed Celeste, coordinated with a group. They might not have helped him kill her, but they were aware of a game plan. Plan was to dispose of the body during the tour so he has an alibi. But during tour, his accomplice planned a burial spot. On the day of the supposed burial, yes, a girl isn't going to be able to pack a body into a car, drove to the designated location, explaining coat of dust over car. Something unplanned happened at the location and the body couldn't be buried, forcing him to drive back and replan things. Decided to park away from the house to lessen suspicions. On the way back, he lost the Tesla key and was no longer able to access the car. David couldn't just go back during his tour to give him access. That would leave a digital paper trail. The car was left in the spot parked until it was towed. All right. I can't lie. I came into this thread with a bias against you already in place. Like, here we go, another crazy theory. But this was actually a solid read and a solid theory, especially with a random Redditor finding the Tesla key, if that's truly 100% real, which I believe it is. Now, I feel like it's a little bit far-fetched to think that anybody is going to help anybody dispose of a body. Like, if someone hit me up and was like, yo, I just caught a body, like, can you help me dispose of the body? I'm calling the fucking police. I'm not going to lie. I'm calling the police. So, yeah. It's a little bit far-fetched, but then also, I don't know, maybe there's a little bit of truth to it too. So more analysis going around, and just like I was saying, I was interested in hearing what some potential defenses might have been. You know, people are basically saying that, look, he might never face justice for certain things that he did, not even necessarily a potential murder, but also just the sordid relationship that he had with this allegedly, well, not even allegedly, this confirmed underage girl. David will likely never face justice for grooming Celeste. This is a sad fact, but likely true. Unless there's some sort of explicit material on his phone of Celeste that they can tie him to, there's likely not much the police can do in this regard. The victim has passed away. There's no DNA that can be collected or kit that can be done. People can say that they thought that they were dating, but that's not strong enough, and his high-paid lawyers can make that go away. People think or assume a lot of things. That doesn't mean that it's true. People will also say she was living with him and that she was missing from her family. Lawyers will say many people were living with him. He was a teen with a mansion. A bunch of people were there. Celeste was simply part of his entourage and he didn't kidnap her from anywhere. She willingly ran away from home and could have gone back at any time. Unless they can tie him specifically to the murder itself, then there likely isn't a case here. If it turns out he wasn't the one who either killed her or tried to dispose of the body and he was out of state or country at the time, he will likely get off. But people are saying his career is over anyway and reputation ruined. It's a nightmare for people like him anyway, right? Yes, but he made millions off his music. He's set for life. If he gets off scot-free, his worst outcome is being a multi-millionaire at 20 with a bad rep. The way things are now, I know a lot of people would kill to be in that situation. All right, people saying, bro, you can't harbor a effing runaway minor. That's illegal on its own. They don't need anything else. Why haven't they done it yet? Because they are still investigating. Okay. So another more detailed updated timeline has also dropped. Okay, another updated timeline. Now, I won't bore you with reading this whole thing again, but essentially, you know, constantly people are updating the timeline. You know, they're fitting everything into this timeline, and the timeline's getting pretty comprehensive now. Okay, so this is what's interesting is in this timeline, it says on April the 2nd, 2025, Celeste is seen on David's TikTok post, but everybody is commenting basically saying there's no images of Celeste after 2024. I think this is an image from 2024 again, where the bag was being used to cover her face. On the 2nd of April, he uploaded a TikTok. The bag is seen behind him on the sofa as proof that people are saying that was proof she was still alive, but we don't know if that bag was even hers in the first place. Maybe she left it there. Maybe it's not the same bag. But yeah, I think it is interesting. A lot of people have been saying that she was never seen after 2024, which is very dark. If so, I mean, who knows? Maybe she could have passed away all the way back then. But then friends did say they were talking to her until August 2025. So this is another post in the Celeste subreddit. It says, in my humble opinion, I think David is screwed. From everything that's already been gathered by the internet and how fast this case is coming together, I seriously doubt this David or the accused David Anthony Burke will walk away without some charges sticking. There's already a ton of information. Let me put this in a timeline. Remember, it took years to charge Diddy and years to charge R. Kelly. From the time the car was discarded and from when the accused reported it missing had to be at least 11 days. That number from my math is getting info from a YouTube video, but likely it's been seen more than that, so at or before August the 28th, 2025. The death investigation started September the 8th, 2025 after a foul smell came from the vehicle. LA Homicide and Robbery Unit received such a warrant. Search warrant and searched the rented house on the 18th. It's September the 28th. There's plenty of information on the internet and 10,000 posts on the subreddit alone. From when I interned for a defense lawyer, I've learned that social media posts aren't strong evidence, but that evidence coupled with physical evidence, witness testimony, which is the meat and potatoes of most criminal cases, builds a strong case. Also, song lyrics are typically pretty weak evidence, but they paint a picture to a jury. I did some research, and allegedly the accused paid people to keep their mouths shut. There's already a witness tampering charge. Or that's already a witness tampering charge. If anyone was paid to keep their mouth shut about murder, they can get charged for obstruction of justice. The body was dismembered. If that was his doing, he'd be charged under desecration of a corpse law, which is a felony in California. If any evidence was destroyed by David, that's obstruction of justice. We haven't even gotten to murder yet, which if he's convicted, his song lyrics would indicate that it was premeditated. That's a stretch, to be honest with you. So first degree murder, then finally the statutory R charges, because California doesn't have Romeo and Juliet laws. Statutory R may be hard to prove. If his producers or any part of David's team helped this murder occur, that's obvious accessory to murder charges. Those producers will probably provide testimony to get a light sentence or to not completely ruin their rep. First degree murder, 25 years to life. Felony obstruction of justice, 2 to 4 years. Desecration of a corpse, which is not exact, let's say 1 to 3 years. Misdemeanor witness tampering, $1,000 fine or up to 1 year. Statutory R word, age difference of more than 3 years, up to a $10,000 fine and 1 year in prison. So potentially 28 years. So yikes, plus an $11,000 fine. And depending on what the judge said, he's probably a registered S offender or just isn't allowed to complete community service at a school or where children congregate or nothing, but that's unlikely. Maximum life sentence with 9 years and S offender status. Okay. They're saying he's screwed. They're saying that there's so much, all right? If they can even get a few of these charges on him, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. And it does look really bad, okay? Now, this was interesting. Okay, this is a David interview from June 2022. And people are saying it's interesting because around the 14-minute mark, he apparently says that he gets his inspiration from Discord. Check this out, okay?
And this is
So this is a whole long-ass interview, okay? But apparently that's what he says.
yeah, that's it. I picked it. Okay, I picked Petals of Thorns because the romantic homicide is where it all started with that rose. The rose was like the main centerpiece for the romantic homicide era, and it symbolized a heartbreak. I chose.
But you've never had heartbreak, correct?
No, not yet. I feel like the songs I made in 2022 and right now are being made in advance, and it's so crazy to be able to.
Okay, that's a little bit creepy, right? He said, I'm making songs in advance of my heartbreak. He knows some heartbreak's coming. He knows there's something wrong with a relationship now.
Like listen to the EP and have things connect to me now that didn't connect to me when I made them. Like I made them in advance and I made them for my future self, like a diary almost. And every time I listen to my songs, I'm like rereading this diary and seeing, I'm getting advice from my past self. It's kind of like a weird experience almost. But I chose the white rose because red roses are like symbolisms of like romance.
Yeah.
But when you drain a rose and it becomes pale, it's like you took the love out of it.
What? He took the love or the blood out of it? Like what? When you drain a rose?
So when I made romantic homicide, I made sure that I picked the white rose because the love was gone. And then roses have thorns, so I picked Petals of Thorns because the farther you get down the project, you get from the beauty to the pain. So it's like you looked at the rose and then you grabbed it and then you got stabbed. So it's like symbolic in the way of holding a rose. And I feel like you really hold music when you listen to it because you're taking it in, you listen to every lyric. And it's not just like something you vibe to, you know, you could actually be attentive and actually.
Okay, this interview is pretty interesting. I'm not going to hold you, okay? But they said that he was inspired by Discord around 14 minutes. That's actually not what happens. He doesn't say that, all right? He's talking about he's getting advice from his past self, but he mentions Discord. But let's hear what he said about Discord.
Not you, actually, correct?
Yeah. Oh, so the thing I do sometimes, I'll go on, you know, the app Discord and stuff like that. Sometimes I go in there and like my community members will be in voice call and I'll just be on there and be like, what's up? What are y'all talking about? And there's this one kid, I forgot his name, but he said he was trying to get this girl, like he had a crush on in Discord to be his girlfriend. And I was like, okay, what do you want me to do about it? He was like, can you write a song about us? I was like, okay, what is her name? Like, what is she about? He's like, oh, this girl's so perfect. She's everything I ever wanted in a girl. Like, her eyes are like ocean blue and this and that and the third. Her hair is like soul. I was like, bro, you are a simp. And then I was like, yo, I'll do this for you, like, because, you know, but this is like, so he basically gave me all this information about this girl, and I was like, okay, what's her name? Then he was like, it's Allie, man. Like, she has the most beautiful name ever, like Ally. Like, it's like, okay, maybe I can flip this. And then I turned Allie into like the back street, because an alley is in the back street, so I called it Backstreet Girl. And then I just basically described the girl throughout the entire song without even knowing her. Mind you, I did not know this girl, and I'm
So he says that he's on Discord writing love songs for other people to try and help them get their girls. Now, I feel that is actually quite interesting. But anyway, we're going to move on. I'm going to check out this interview in more detail another time. For any interesting comments. Dude is incredibly smug and arrogant. That's an interesting comment. But anyway, people are actually saying that he's now officially hired a serious Hollywood lawyer. David's lawyer, Blair Burke, was a Harvard law student, and on the 2024 Forbes list for the best lawyers, she has a lot of A-list clients. Hollywood's A-list elites trust Burke to manage high-profile cases with discretion and finesse. Her celebrity clients include Gerard Butler, Kanye West, Reese Witherspoon, Ryan Seacrest, Heather Locklear, Keitha Sutherland, and Queen Latifah, as well as Lindsay Lohan. Blair Burke, right? Criminal defense lawyer, 31 years in service, okay? Top lawyers 2024. People saying this is why the LAPD is taking so long to build a case against him. It will take more than Discord chat logs and song lyrics to go up against a man with access to the best lawyers that money can buy. Apparently, she represented Weinstein and Mel Gibson too. Now that's unconfirmed. I can't bother to look that up, but you can go look that up and verify whether or not that's true. But yeah, it's actually pretty crazy. So there's been more commentary on the lawyer. Okay, people are saying this is a hotshot lawyer. This is going to be a serious challenge. Okay, hired lawyer. Police say he's cooperating. Haven't seen much discussion, but he's since retained counsel. Top Hollywood attorney Blair Burke, who hasn't returned any requests for comments. Detectives have been working for weeks to trace her final movements. That's Celeste, determining any connections with David. People saying that his publicist said that he'd been cooperating, but now the police are saying so as well. He has, according to Daily Mail, hired a lawyer. So what does cooperating even entail? I wonder if he's even been questioned. People are saying it's a good question. If he complies with lawful orders, warrants, then he is technically cooperating. Cooperating has a pretty broad definition. It doesn't mean he's given them answers while being questioned. Pleading the fifth to avoid self-incrimination while being asked what happened could still be considered cooperating. Protecting your rights does not mean that you're not cooperating. Okay, everybody, whether innocent or not, should always ask for a lawyer before speaking to the police and keep their mouth shut if accused of anything. That doesn't mean they're not cooperating, just looking out for themselves. All right, Young Thug fans, all right, take note. Atlanta rappers, take note of that one. Okay, but this was really interesting. So a lot of people have noticed this very, very interesting coincidence. All right, so this is the report of the car actually being impounded on the 9th, on the 5th of September. Okay, the car was getting towed or impounded on the 5th of September, and suspiciously, this is the very same day that David made this post, and you might not be able to see that there, but he said, I start media training tomorrow, guys, wish me luck, all right? And I feel like that's actually quite an interesting point, because it's like, is it just a coincidence, or was it like, oh shit, my car's been impounded, I'm gonna start media training because I'm gonna be big in the media after this? He was saying could be nothing, could be something. Good find. He was saying great find. I feel like David was definitely preparing for the possibility of her being found, but I imagine he already had his media training planned in advance. Still good detective work. Now, a lot of non-Americans, myself included, are baffled as to how somebody can get found with a dead body in their trunk. All right, I was saying this to my assistant the other day. I was like, bruh, if I got found with a dead body in my trunk in England, right in this great country, the United Kingdom, I'd be in jail. I'd be in cuffs straight away. Like, what the hell? Right? People saying watching this case as a non-American is wild. How is this even possible? Not American, but I've been following the case since day one, and it blows my mind how different US legal system is. Like, how do you literally find human remains in someone's car and they still aren't officially named as a suspect? Where I'm from, if you're even remotely connected to a case like this, you're detained immediately. What I've seen, the US system has a lot of loopholes. If you've got a strong lawyer, they can work the jury, pick apart the prosecution's case, and completely change the outcome. The O.J. Simpson trial is probably the biggest example of that. Money plus strategy equals not guilty. I feel like that's why investigators take so long over there. They know if they rush and mess up, the defense can exploit it later. Still, it feels strange to watch everything drag out. What do you think? Is this just how the system has to work, or is it basically rewarding rich people who can afford good lawyers? It says a lot of times here in the US, police will intentionally state that they do not have a suspect because they're hoping the person they suspect will relax and let their guard down so they can pull a gotcha, right? But anyway, yeah, there's a bunch of analysis on that, okay? A lot of people are just still saying things don't add up. This is the last thing that I'm going to show you, okay? This is overlooked info. This says, okay, I've seen a lot of evidence, but a lot of it still doesn't add up. Can someone fill me in on why these are being overlooked? The only tattoo the medical examiner mentioned was the shush tattoo on her index finger, not the David tattoo in the pics posted by the deleted user. They would have definitely been visible to see. In the song Celeste, he sings about this girl with his name tattooed on her chest. Again, there's been no mention of a tattoo on her chest, only index finger. 3, her family knew where she was, who she was with, and also to have had contact with her over the time she was missing, but didn't pick her up or care until she passed away, and don't seem that outraged now. I don't agree with that personally. And she was running from home, but there isn't one mention of what she was running from at home. I have a feeling that's going to be a major twist to the case. I don't believe David's innocent in all of this, but I think the middle school detectives may want to look into these facts if they're wondering why he hasn't been arrested yet with all of this so-called evidence floating around. The tattoo on her chest thing is a damn lyric. Not every single lyric someone writes is real or true. He said chest for the rhyme scheme of the song. What the hell? People are pointing out some interesting inconsistencies, reasons why this hasn't been, prosecuted yet. I still think My personal opinion, I still think an arrest might come. It might take a long time, might take months. Took 2 years from the murder to happen for Lil Durk to get charged with murder for hire, and we're still waiting trial for that. You know, it took 2 years for the O Block 6 guys who killed FBG Duck to get arrested. They were running around making songs about it, thinking they got off scot-free, but it eventually caught up with them. But at the end of the day, you know, there's still a lot of speculation going around. This is just me giving my opinion on everything that's going on. You know, I can't verify the authenticity of all of these things. I'm going to do a deeper dive and really focus on just what is facts and what isn't. I might even do another video where I do kind of just all the facts and all the unconfirmed stuff and just separate all of those for everyone to understand. Hope you enjoyed that. Catch you in the next one. Peace.